everyone, and welcome back to Miss Volk's online classroom. Today, I'm going to cover something a little bit different: iconic performers. We're going to look at some of the best vocalists of all time and 5 reasons why I think they're iconic. Today's focus is Brian Wilson.
Yeah, man.
Now, I grew up listening to Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys, but bringing him up in my classroom sounds a little bit like this.
I hate to say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street, I wouldn't know a thing.
So for those of you who are just learning, Brian Wilson is one of the lead singers, the bassist, one of the composers, and one of the founding members of the Beach Boys. Now, my love for the Beach Boys could cover a whole series, but today we're just going to focus on Brian. These are 5 reasons why I think Brian Wilson is iconic. Number 1, the entire album of Pet Sounds. It's so good. Number 2, Brian Wilson is so real. If you watch interviews of Brian Wilson, you will see a guy who's completely genuine, completely real, and almost entirely incapable of being fake.
I hear it on the radio and I go, how in the heck could I produce a record like that, you know?
Yes, he's a guy who knows his legacy, but he also seems to be one of the sweetest guys around.
I feel like if I don't get my butt in gear and get on that stage and do my songs, then I should quit the business.
When did you start to feel that?
Yesterday.
All of his friends say that he's incredibly humble and extremely kind. Number 3, that falsetto. Oh my gosh.
Falsetto is a vocal register that is higher than the male speaking voice.
And Brian Wilson pretty much invented it. Okay, no, he did not invent it, but he did help popularize it. He wasn't the first to sing in falsetto, and he won't be the last, but he is one of the best. Listen to some examples of peak Brian Wilson falsetto.
I will make your dreams come true.
How? Number 4, Brian Wilson is a major mental health advocate. You name it, he's been through it. This is a man who has suffered panic attacks, auditory hallucinations, schizoaffective disorder, depression, somewhere around 3 years in bed, addiction, court battles, a controlling therapist, and more. That's not even counting the fact that he's deaf in one ear. But Brian Wilson is a survivor, and he and his wife Melinda are very candid about the struggles that he went through in hopes that it can help someone else. Some information about his mental health struggles can be found in his autobiography, I Am Brian Wilson. Not only is this man alive and touring, but he's bringing awareness to something that just wasn't very well known when he started suffering. And to me, that makes an icon. Number 5, this man is just inventive. I told myself I was going to listen through his full discography. I listen to his music every day and I'm still not through it. I started this a month ago. He created harmonies that no one had ever heard before. He used instruments and sounds no one had ever heard before. Like pet sounds. Heh. Okay, but he did actually use the sounds of dogs barking on his song Caroline No. There's even a track when Paul McCartney is allegedly credited for munching on celery during a song. The song is appropriately called Vega-tables.
My favorite vegetable.
And speaking of Paul McCartney, have you ever heard of a band called The Beatles? The Beatles even said that without Brian Wilson's album Pet Sounds, their album Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band would have never existed. Hello? All musicians have their good side and their dark side. This video is not intended to erase his dark side. But today, I just wanted to focus on 5 reasons why he's one of the most iconic musicians of all time. Also, I teach middle school, and if I really wanted to get into the dark side of Brian Wilson, I'd be fired, and I kind of like my job. I hope today you learned a little bit more about Brian Wilson, and go eat your vegetables.
You think we could get a horse in here?